I'm recording part of an interview from Rolling Stone with Larry David on the front, who a lot of Aspies think has Asperger's or Asperger's traits, and he put them in all the different Seinfeld characters, and also he always gets into social faux pas on his show Curb Your Enthusiasm. Like a fear of change, I think it's part of an OCD thing that's part of it, or it's in a lot of stuff. Today's successful errand entails picking up a just-repaired pair of glasses. The long-since discontinued Oliver Peoples frames he's been wearing since 1990, back when he was just starting as executive producer of Seinfeld. I can't find another pair of glasses. I just like them. And now it's too late to change. Even if I didn't like them, it would be like getting a toupee. It feels like a big step. Like if you want to wear the same clothes all the time, or the same food, or you just don't like things to change. This is where usually whenever an interviewer from a magazine interviews someone, they kowtow to the celebrity, and the celebrity gets to pick everywhere that they go, and it shows what the celebrity is like. And this is what Larry David said whenever the interviewer from Rolling Stone told him about making accommodations to come. He sighs and we talk logistics. The kind of thing every other celebrity would have their publicists and assistants handle. We decide I'll fly to LA the next week and hang out with him there. What is this, a buddy movie, David says, raising his voice as if he's arguing with Richard Lewis in a restaurant. We're going to become friends now. Next week it's all going to be Larry and Brian. He adds a warning. You have to make all the plans. I'm not making any plans. I interject a sputtering protest. If I decide where to go, it will reflect me, not him. That's the point, David says, sounding like a triumphant George Costanza. There's nothing that reflects me. I'm unreflectable. Larry David's special interest, which people have, they say they have special interest, which would just be a hobby for anybody else, so why is it different? I don't know. But he likes golf a lot. But when he's talking about it right here, it's like showing his perfectionism. Like they say that the Aspies have a problem. They want everything perfect, like, or you don't even want to do it, and then like you psych yourself out and you can't do it. He's supposed to keep his head down when he swings, but some psychological block gets in his way. He's tried to fix it, gone to coaches, but nothing's worked. Is he a hopeless case? I'm a hopeless case only insofar as I'm concerned. Nobody else would consider me a hopeless case, he says, heading back inside. He's a decent golfer with a handicap of 13. He thinks for a second and begins to laugh uncontrollably. There's something very funny about the term hopeless case, you know. I think that from the time I became a teenager, I think somewhere deep inside I felt or knew I was a hopeless case. Not golf-wise, but life-wise. Then, problems like meeting people and dating and stuff. When did he make this determination? I don't know. It must have been one of those moments where there was an attractive woman and I didn't have the courage to walk up to her. It must have been a moment like that. I'd always watch guys who were smooth with the women and be in awe of them. Cool guys who could say anything and behave in any way. I really admired those guys. Even if they were criminals, even if they were reprobates, I admired them. Anybody who was considered cool, I admired. It's hard to fit in. Then he says he felt like he wasn't part of the free love thing in the 60s or 70s, and like and this was interesting. It was like an all gentle country club. I wasn't allowed in. I couldn't get in the club. They knew I was trying to sneak in. They knew I wasn't really part of the culture, and they go, no, we see through you. You can't come in. It's like being ostracized, and you don't think you fit in. And then he talks about how he doesn't know how to kiss people, and he's really worried about it because if someone knows that you're a bad kisser, they're going to tell everybody, which maybe wouldn't even be a thing, but you just have this thing in the back of your mind that whatever you do, I guess, people are going to find fault with it. And you don't feel the natural, like, thing of everybody else. You think you have to study things before you do them and stuff. There's hardly anything I've ever done I didn't want to back out of, he says, paraphrasing a line from George's mouth in the Seinfeld episode. I never had an appointment in my life where I wanted the other person to show up. And then he talks about how every time they do these episodes of Curb Your Enthusiasm, every episode he says, is it harder? Like he works with a group of people, and they're like, no, because, you know, it's the same, I guess, procedure or whatever. but every time he's nervous and worried that he's not going to be able to do it. And that's how I feel whenever I do anything. Like, just because one day I did this doesn't mean I can ever do it again, because it's still just as hard next time. Like, when stupid things bother you, like, it would seem stupid to someone else, and then you're given more choices, and you still, like, either one is going to bother you. It says he doesn't really know his eccentricities, but other people, when he met his ex-wife, years ago, Cheryl Hines, who plays his long-suffering, now ex-wife, was talking to David on the phone while he edited the HBO special that he turned into Curb Your Enthusiasm. He invited her over to see some footage, and she told him she just had to jump in the shower first. He hesitated. He wasn't sure he'd be in the editing room long enough. So then she'd be holding him up, and I guess he wouldn't like that, So Hines offered to skip the shower and come right over. I don't like the sound of that either, David told her. I'm not going to be able to concentrate with you sitting there knowing you didn't shower. Oh my God, okay, I will shower, but I won't wash my hair, so I'll be clean, and I will put my hair in a ponytail, Hines told him. Okay, we can try that. That's when I knew, Hines said with great affection, that, oh my God, he's really crazy. And that's like, germs and just like all this stuff is bothering him. And also the crazy thing reminds me of a lot of the people who have Asperger say, like, lots of times they say, I didn't know there's anything like this. I just thought I was crazy. Which I could understand when it's coming out of your mouth, and when you hear somebody else say it, though, it's like, I just thought I was crazy. Isn't crazy a terrible thing to be? The thing I wondered about when people said that maybe his character had that was that on the show it seems like he doesn't care what people think of him. And I thought that a lot of the people did, and this is what he says about Curb Your Enthusiasm. That guy doesn't worry about anything, and he does exactly what he wants at all times. The show Larry is much more aggressive, says Lori. The real Larry is very gentle and sweet and doesn't like to offend people. He's my version of Superman, adds David. The character really is me, but I just couldn't possibly behave like that. If I had my druthers, that would be me all the time, but you can't do that. We're always doing things we don't want to do. We never say what we really feel, and so this is an idealized version of how I want to be. As crazy as this person is, I could step into those shoes right now, but I would be arrested or I'd be hit or whatever. And that's like when I'm upset, I want to act out and do crazy things, but then, if you ever do anything, like, you're the crazy person. You can't handle that someone else is, calling you names or saying you did whatever thing wrong that you didn't even know you were doing wrong. Also, the Superman thing, they used to have that all the time on Seinfeld, which somebody said, like, they always put a Superman reference in Seinfeld, which is an OCD thing. J.B. Smoove, who plays David's perpetual house guest Leon, perhaps the single funniest character on television, blah, 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 says, because Larry David doesn't think he's the same as the person on the show. They are the same motherfucker. Larry David is uncomfortable in person. He's uncomfortable on the show. If you're on the goddamn show and your name is Larry David and you leave the fucking show and get in your car and go home after shooting Curb Your Enthusiasm and your name is Larry David, guess what? You're motherfucking Larry David. They are one and the same. There's no goddamn difference. And then he says, but I don't see him, and he makes a joke, I don't see him offset. Maybe he's a hip-hop person or whatever. And I always had things like people think like I'm hiding something. I have something I'm not showing you. One time someone made a joke, I don't know, maybe whenever I was living in Maryland, maybe when you were in Pennsylvania, for all I know, you have 3 kids and a husband. As if because you don't act the same way that they do, like you could be hiding stuff. That's sort of what I feel with that. It says that he feels he failed as a comedian because he tried to be a comedian before he did all this other stuff. And this is what was interesting. I was missing something I needed. Either the material wasn't funny enough, or I wasn't manipulating the audience enough. I couldn't go up and even say hello. My bedside manner was lacking. I'd say hello, but I couldn't sell it. I couldn't kiss their ass the way I needed to kiss it to really get them on my side. But even if I would have gone up and said hello in the right way, it probably wouldn't have worked anyway. If you tell a regular person, I didn't say hello in the right way, they probably don't know what the hell you're talking about. But if you feel like this, it's like, I'm doing something wrong. And if you talk if you're not trying to inflect your voice with something, or it's not coming naturally, then maybe, if someone just says, how are you? And I say, okay, because that's my response I have to give, by the way, when you say, how are you? They'll be like, okay, oh, what's wrong? You have to be like, oh, it's really good. Things are good. They're good. Or, but not that hyped up because that's, but you know what I mean. You have to be like, they're good. Yeah, things are good. Thank you for asking. How are you? This is a waste of time also. There are a lot of things about regular society that there are just meaningless rules that people have to follow for no reason. Like if they're not logical or they're unneeded or nobody wants anything, but everybody has to follow them. And this reminds me of that. David and Jeff Garland, I think it's the fat guy on the show who's his friend or whatever, are sitting together in another restaurant interrogating a waitress. It feels like cameras should be rolling, but this is as best can be termed in real life. One of the few clues is that while David is wearing another outfit from the show, sport jacket, v-neck, khakis, Garland's in a jeans and Fahrenheit 451 t-shirt. The restaurant is located inside the complex where David has his office, so he's on a level beyond regular here. He orders his own menu salad, known appropriately as Larry David. Again, he's getting something all the time, the same thing. Garland asks the waitress about the ingredients. Blah, 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 who cares? Lately, David has been comically obsessed with the pour. Servers' insistence on pouring bottled water instead of letting him do it himself. Are you man enough to tell her not to pour? He had asked me the day before. Today, David is man enough. Why would you stop the pour? Garland asks. I don't like it. Why don't you like it? She's a server. She's being very nice. We're being very respectful to her. I don't like it. When the waitress comes back, Garland puts the question to her. Is pouring a hassle to you? Are you like, oh, I've got to pour? The waitress, no, it's just, Larry, is it a policy? Have you been instructed to pour? The waitress, if your glass is empty and there's a glass and my manager saw that, yeah, I'd get yelled at. Larry, why? Waitress, because I should be pouring it. Larry, why should you be pouring it? Jeff, that's the manager's policy. Waitress, I guess they feel that this is part of the job, the territory. Larry, is it also because they want us to finish the bottle so I should buy another? Waitress, probably. I rest my case, David says, pounding the table in triumph. And that's like a lot of things in life that there's stupid things that are just, happening. And if it's almost like you see things other people don't see. And if you notice them and you bring that up, you're the weirdo. And if you listen to this, it also reminds me of a kid. A kid will always ask you a lot of questions. Why is something the way it is? And we're always just told, it just is the way it is. That's just how it is. Just listen to, Mommy, why is the sky blue? The sky is just blue. The mother doesn't know, all the science crap or whatever. It just is blue, and that's how it is, and listen to your mother. Listen to everybody, listen to all the rules. Don't question anything, you know what I mean? Who cares if things are set up in a highly illogical way, as long as all of the stupid people are fine with it. I also think this next part is something like, I feel like most people have an automatic lying thing that they do to themselves all the time, but that I see myself clearly, so I'm more depressed about things. I know what I look like. If I look bad that day, I don't go around thinking, "Woo, I'm the best, whatever." You know what I mean? But a lot of people do. They're just like, I'm a bad bitch. I just am. And then they can just pull that off and act like it all the time, but I can't. This reminds me of that. David doesn't want to talk about dating, but he does address Howard Stern's recent assertion that he found it shallow to go out with women who were attracted to his fame. Who cares? That's fine with me if they're interested in fame. That's great. Bring it on. What do I care? I'm happy for it. Otherwise, what do you expect somebody to like you for? Who you are? I was who I was for a long time, and nobody seemed to care for it. Why else would somebody approach me? Who's going up to a bald guy, an old bald guy? Nobody. If I wasn't on television, who's coming up to me? People would run from me. Are you kidding? If I tried to flirt with a woman and she didn't know who I was, she would run away. And who's not shallow, by the way? Because he's obsessed with the golf thing that they said he does it all the time. He doesn't know what he would do without. I don't know what I would do without golf. On no-work days in New York, I don't know what people do. It's not fun for me to just walk around and have cocktails and go to museums and plays. I get nothing out of that. Which a lot of people say, I don't find the same things fun as other people. That's how they feel or whatever. And I like some of the same things as other people, but if I try to go do them and I'm a woman and I'm by myself because I have no friends, then I'm singled out as the girl who's sitting over there. And then if I don't look nice, then I'm the ugly girl who's sitting over there, the girl who looks like a boy. And if I do look nice, then I'm the stuck-up bitch who's sitting by herself. So I really can't win either way, and people don't like me.